Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Stova Marketing Module training, where we're going to be creating email campaigns in Stova. I am your trainer today, and my name is Laura Rutherford. I am a Stova account administrator, one of two here at ASU, and I work at the Office of University Events and Protocol. Just a couple housekeeping notes. This session is being recorded, as you probably noticed. We will provide you with a link to all of the training that's being recorded. It'll come to you via email in a couple of days after it's done rendering and we have a chance to look at it and do some edits, as we usually have to do. Another note is that you may see as we travel through the platform several different names. As you're looking at Stova, they've done some growing in the years that we've been a customer. It started as eTouches, they changed their name to Eventury, there's been some mergers and acquisitions, and they became Stova, which stands for Standing Ovation, by the way. It's all the same platform that we've been using for the last 9 years. So if you see those changes, no need to panic. It's all good. We encourage you to ask questions as we move through the platform. And you can do that either by just unmuting your microphone or asking your questions in chat. And hopefully I'll see the question and answer it, or in a pause, or Steve might, who's monitoring, might also pick up some questions. So what's the purpose of the module? This is your opportunity to learn how to use the module to run an effective email marketing campaign for promoting your events. You can also use a marketing campaign for things like newsletters, informational letters, or emails. It's really good, especially when you're using it for large scale communication, because unlike Outlook, you can't be put in Outlook jail if you exceed the limitation numbers on Outlook. Stova will let you send it to as many people as you need to. Today, we're going to go over mailing lists, how to create them. We're going to talk about HTML emails and what that means. We're going to teach you how to link it to your registration site, how to schedule that email, and then reporting and analytics. What we won't really be covering today, other than sort of mentioning them, is HTML and CSS coding, industry standards of HTML email design, and ASU branding standards, other than just to mention them in passing. We do have this lovely resource page if you want to dig into those things just a little more. And you can do that by using any of these research links or suggestions. That all being said, let's begin. And I'm going to start in our Stova support page here at ASU, which was created for you as users here at ASU, so you could look at answer some questions. If questions about registration, you just go into the registration module. There's a marketing module with some information in it, and all the other modules as well. But what it's super handy for is it gives you your login to sign into Stova, which is this yellow button here, which takes you to this page, which is our SSO page, which means all you have to do is sign in with your ASU right. And now you're on the Stova page. Okay, and what you'll see, what you usually see, I've already been in here, is that you'll get in and you'll just see the main unit that you're responsible for. Okay, and we judge that unit based on what Workday tells us. So if Workday tells us that you're in the College of Really Cool Ideas, that's the folder you're going to see. Okay, and the College of Really Cool Ideas is our training college that we invented for exactly this purpose. What I'm going to do to get started is I'm going to look for and teach you how to do a mailing list. How do we get there? Well, we come up to those three dark blue lines, which they will call the stack or the hamburger. So if you're ever on with Stova support or even with Steve or I and we're answering a question, we may ask you to click the hamburger. That's what we're talking about. So you can get into this navigation panel. okay? And here we can see things like event registration, websites, and the marketing module, which is right here, okay? Now, in all of my other trainings, I tell you never to click anything that says create, right? Don't create a new event. Don't create a new email. This is the one exception. When you're creating a marketing list, we don't really have a template for that, right? Because it's a pretty simple process. So this is the only time I'm ever going to tell you to create a mailing list or create anything, and that's the mailing list. So we'll click on that. What are we going to call this? This is the invite. New director, April 2026. Okay, we'll submit it. Well, actually, first we want to make sure it's in the right folder. Click that. Yep, it's in the top level folder, and that's where I want it. Click submit. And there we are. Okay. So what's here and what do we need to fill out? All right. Well, let's see. We've got the name of the list, all right, but we want to, and you don't have to at any given moment link it to an event, but in this particular case, because we're going to be attaching it to a registration page along with an invitation, I'm going to link it to a specific event, all right, and this is the April new director reception, okay, and now you can see here, link to event, that it has been linked to a specific registration page that I created the last time I did the training for the Essentials class for Stova. All right. So I can change that event. Maybe this is a really handy mailing list that could be used for various events and or maybe even some newsletters. So I could change the event if I needed to. I could change it. I could leave it blank. Okay. So now that we've filled out these details, I'm going to go ahead and go to Manage Subscribers. Now you can add subscribers in several ways. First, I'm going to show you how to add subscribers onesie twosie, just one at a time. All right. Here I'm going to put in me, put in my email address. All right. My first name, my last name. Okay. Now, all this other information you could certainly fill out if you needed to, but really, when you're using a mailing list, this is the primary information that you need to get an email um, list created and to attach it to an event to be sent out. Now, what I am going to tell you is that sometimes the only thing that Stova requires is the email address because that's obviously a unique identifier, right? However, as a person who has managed many a mailing list, I urge you to always get it put together so that you can enter our first name and a last name because it's much harder to sort through email addresses than it is to sort um, by a name, right? So the name might not be unique, but it's much easier to look through a couple of Laura Rutherfords versus trying to figure out what the email was. Because sometimes when an administrator comes to you and says, hey, was that Laura Rutherford invited to the XYZ event? Much easier for you to go in not knowing what the email address is and looking me up by name. All right. So this is just for your benefit. So since I've entered that, I'm going to hit save and exit. And now, as it's loading, all right, you can see that we've added me. So there's one person in this mailing list. Now, if you've got a large list, you're not going to want to be loading them one by one. Instead, you're going to want to import the data. All right. So to find your email list, right, on your own system, you're going to go into Browse, right? Here's my sample mailing list. All right, you can see that it's been loaded here. All right, Now, I could do some filtering, all right? If you were doing an event, which I've done many times, let's say you're doing a large event like a grand opening, right? And it's a committee and they're sending you multiple lists over several days and you've loaded the first one and now, oh gosh, now they've sent you more. Maybe it's the same list with a couple of changes. How do you handle all that? Well, if it's a brand new list, it's never been done, you're starting it from scratch. You don't have to do anything, right? Everything here is fine, and I could just click the upload file. If they are sending you a secondary or a tertiary list, right, you can make decisions. You can override the old record with a new entry. You can import the record again, creating a duplicate. I don't recommend this one, by the way. Could retain the old record and ignore the new record. All right. I think this one is the best. Overwrite the old record with the imported entry. All right. And the subscribed, unsubscribed, that's based on some common sense. Obviously, you only want to upload people who are subscribed. I'm going to click upload. So now we have to map this information, right? So we want to make sure we have the first name. Going to map the first name to the first name, last name to the last name, and most importantly, the email address, which is down here. Oh, that's the web. Here's the email address. Okay, which is required. Okay, now I've got that done. Okay, let me move something out of the way real quick. All right, so now we're going to import that data. Now, as it's going through this process, if you have a large list, anything longer than about 100 names, it's going to take a minute to complete. You're going to see sort of a circling red daisy chain as it goes around and it thinks about it, all right? And if you have a large list, chances are you're going to have some emails that are not quite correct. And it will start spitting them out here on this page in red, okay? Now, if it does that, once you close the window, those errors are gone and you can't see them anymore. So what I do before I hit the close window, if I have any errors, is I highlight them and then and copy them and then paste them into a Word document so I can come back to those problems later and I can proceed. All right. Because that's the only opportunity you're going to get to fix something. Maybe it's asu.ed, right? And it's missing the U. Or maybe somebody forgot the at sign when they sent you this email. That'll let you go back in and re-enter these later, but you can proceed for now. So I'm going to close this window and then they're going to show processed. All right. Awesome. We have the list, right? You can see me still here at the top and the rest of these test emails, okay? So that's great. Now you have all your emails, all right? Now, if you do happen to notice that there's a duplicate, you could come in to the edit button and you could unsubscribe someone to something specifically. And those are all listed right here, okay? See, this is the invite for the new director for 2026, right? But if you saw that they had two of those on here because they had been invited already, you could, well, gosh, I don't want them to get this twice, and you could click that, and then that would fix it, okay? You can also manually unsubscribe them from all mailing lists in the account. You can register them for something specific, all right? If someone came back to you and said, hey, Laura Rutherford, can you just, you're the administrator, can you just register? I want to make sure she's registered for that event. You could do that. Okay. So taking a look, save and exit. It'll return me to my list. Now I'm ready to proceed. Okay. I've gone ahead and I've successfully created my mailing list. So what do we do next? All right. So now I'm going to go back up to the hamburger, click it and open my navigation panel. And now I want to view all emails. Remember, the only time we create is in a mailing list. Everything else we view because we want to look at a template. and that's where our templates are stored. Okay. So we have, let me move this. Doesn't want me to move it. All right, well, I'll deal with that later. All right, so we have, this should not be here, by the way. This is me not having put it in the correct uh, mailing folder when I created this event. So that's on me, and I'll change that later. But that's why it's important to select the correct folder when we were creating. All right, so instead, we're going to come up here to the templates, right? Now, if we use either of these templates and don't hit the clone button, well, then you will no longer have a template, right? So you always want to clone, and you have two choices. There's a basic email template, which is good for things like newsletters or just an informational piece that you need to send out to your list, etc. All right. And then there's also the invite template, which includes coding and a button to register and the ability to connect it to your registration page. So it's all a seamless process. And this is the one we want to use, and that's what we're going to clone. Okay. So here we are, and we're going to start the details. All right. Email name. All right. This right now shows the name of the template. Well, I want to change it to invite new director reception April 2026. I'll take out the rest of this. Okay. All right. I want to link it to the event. There it is. All right. If I needed to make any notes, I could make them here. These are internal. All right. Now, what is the subject line going to say? This is what comes across on your email. So you want to make it something, that grabs their attention. So I usually do, hey, you are invited. And what are they invited to? The new director ins and outs reception, right? Now I got to put my name. Now, if you've taken my essentials class, you will remember that from emails require a special security um, little piece of coding that you will see here, and that's that little extra A. Okay. So from emails need it, and that's called a DMARC. It proves to ASU systems that even though this is a third party email, which technically Stova is, that it is not junk email and it should be treated as a secure piece of email. Okay, let me change that then. It's coming from CRCI. Here we go. College Really Cool Ideas. And it's from College of Really Cool Ideas. Reply to. Now, the reply to email does not need that little A. So I'm going to take that out. All right. Notice now it doesn't have it. Okay. And I'm going to give them my name to reply that to. Okay. I'm going to save and stay because this has filled out all that I need. All right. Now I'm going to look at content. All right. Now, what does it look like? All right. Cool. Got a couple things that we can change out here. All right. Just a quick look. So when you get it through the template, this is what it looks like, right? It's got ASU branding, a unit or department name that you can put in. You can put some graphics. You can change your unit name. If this is a merge code that can pull from various things. Okay, so all these things with the asterisk, the single asterisk, and the slash, that is a merge code, right? Here, this just indicates that you need to make the change, right? Okay, invite you to and then the event name will pop based on your registration page, which this invite is now linked to. Give them the event start date, the time, the location. The template has anything in here that you need to change out. I'm going to say, and basically it's just going to say, We will be introducing Sam Smith as the new director. Okay, whatever pieces of information you need to have in here. Here is a note and best practice. All right. Keep the information on the invitation relatively simple. Do not, I mean, if you need to write a couple paragraphs, that's fine, but don't get too far away or make them have to scroll down too far to get to this RSVP button. Because we don't want them to be distracted by the point that the whole purpose of an invitation is for them to RSVP. All right. If you need to direct them to some other informational piece, the time to do that is in the confirmation email once they've registered. So if you want to put a link to his bio, great. Let's do that at the on the confirmation page. If you want to put a link to a map, right? You can tell them that map details or bio details will be included in the confirmation page, but don't put those links here because if they click a link, it takes them away from this page, and they no longer don't have the RSVP button right in front of them. Okay. Some of the other things that I've done to sort of fix that is I've put the sort of the immediate information on the top of the RSV button. For example, for the MLK breakfast, I put the information of who the awardees are and then the attendee button. And then I put pictures and bios below so they don't get distracted looking at that and forget to hit the RSVP button. Okay. So we also have a decline button, which is super handy. Okay, so they can hit the decline and then the little message that says, hey, thanks for letting us know that you won't be attending. And that's super helpful to you as the event planner, by the way, um, so that when you're sending reminders for them to RSVP, if you've not heard from them, that's a category that will not be sent another invitation, right? Which is great. And we'll talk more about that when we get into the send. I want them to RSVP by Monday. Okay, by Monday, April 13th, 2026. Okay, so that way they know that that's when they need to RSVP. Contact info, that's going to be taken care of based on the contact info that I filled out in the registration page when I built it a couple of weeks ago. All right, that'll automatically pull that information. Okay, so I need to change a couple things here. Now, unlike event emails, which will automatically pull some information in the footer based on what you put into the ASU merge field on the registration page, unfortunately, this is not so sophisticated that this too will do that. So you are going to have to do a bit of uh, typing here. Okay. And we'll just do this real quick. So you can see it's pretty easy. Now I'm going to go ahead and take this out. All right, just to make it a little quicker. All right, so I've made some changes. So I'm going to hit save and stay. Okay. Now I've made most of my changes. I'm going to talk about graphics next, but I do also want to remind you that just like putting links to events, attachments also problematic. All right. Attachments often are treated like junk mail by most systems, whether that's internal ASU or external out into the community. So we don't recommend that you use an attachment, all right? But if you absolutely must, let's do it correctly. The way to do that is to not drag, and drop a file, okay? Instead, click the select file which will then take you to a folder which you can get into. You can get into another folder, right? And then you can either browse to get a new uh, piece of information and then click it to add, or you can click an existing piece of information to add as an attachment. Okay, but again, our best practice, don't do anything on the invitation that's going to distract them from the whole process of what you want, which is to either accept or decline the invitation. Okay, so now we have some graphics to look at. All right, so in HTML, right, if you know code, you could come in here and do all the coding. I would make a guess that 99.9 of us do not know how to HTML code a thing. So instead, we have this handy dandy little helper, right? That's going to help us do some manage look and feel and add graphics and do all the things, right, in this toolbar. So first we're going to do is we're going to change out our branded logo, right? If you have an endorsed logo for your department, you could do that too. All right, so we're going to click it. Okay, I'm going to browse our server, go into the College of Really Cool Ideas. All right, and we're going to go into the logos folder. All right, that's not what I wanted. Unendorsed brand, that's what I was looking for. Okay, so click this one. That's all correct. I'm going to say okay. And there we are, the ASU College of Really Cool Ideas. All right. Now, because I have the endorsed brand, I don't feel like I need this. All right. So I'm going to right click it and I'm going to delete the table. All right. Now I want to put in a picture. All right. So here again, I'm going to browse the server, go in. I'm going to find a great picture. I like this one. All right, which is a little wide. Best would be 600 by 400. Okay, that looks like a fun reception. All right, so now it's looking the way I want it to. All right. Now I've done all of these things. That's great. Come down here and save and stay. Now, save and stay, super important. Don't walk away from your desk until you hit save and stay a couple of times because I'm paranoid. Nothing worse than to get back to your work after you've run to answer a colleague's question, or get a glass of water to find out that you've timed out and you've lost all of that work. So save and stay is your friend, all right? Save and exit will also assist you in keeping your work. However, it'll also kick you out to a folder level, which can be frustrating on its own. So generally, I use save and stay. Now, there's a couple things you can do here to see what this looks like. I don't really recommend preview email. It doesn't really give you a good look. Let me show you. See, it's kind of funky looking, kind of gives you a feel for it, but not really. So I don't like that. So I like to send a test email, right? I'm going to send it to me, right? If I send it to me, then it pops up on my email, which I've turned off for training purposes. And then it looks just like this, only in an email format. So I do urge you to send a test email. You don't have to, you can send it to anybody. It'll pop up with your name as the creator, but you can send it to your boss, to your committee. You just have to do it one or two at a time. Okay. Now, when you get your test email, what do you do with it? Well, of course, obviously, you're going to check it for typos. You're going to make sure the graphics look good, that nothing is sized oddly. You're also going to test it. That means you're going to click the RSVP button. Does it take you to the page? Great. You're going to come back and look at it again. You're going to click the decline button. Does that take you to the page? Great. That's what you want, right? You're going to look at all of what you need. Okay. Super helpful for testing is that button right there. So now we have it all put together the way we want, our invitation, all right? It's been tested. We're happy with it. Your boss has said good, etc. Okay. And another note about testing. Do not be the only person who tests, all right? Do send it to a colleague and ask them to test it as well, because more eyes on this is better, all right? I can't tell you how many times, because especially if you're in the system all the time, you start to not always see everything fresh, and so it's really helpful to get another opinion. So now what do? It's been tested, it's been looked at. Now you want to send it. Oh, good. What do I do? All right, well, I click the send button. And now, what mailing list am I going to use? Well, I'm going to use that one that we just put together. D26, April. Yep, here it is. That's the list that we did. Remember, it's got 22 subscribers. Yay. All right. So if I apply just basic filters, 22 subscribers will appear down here. All right. Now, we're going to go through this as if it's the first time we're sending this, and then I'm going to come back and talk about when you start adding additional emails to this invitation and what you're going to want to do in terms of filters. All right. To schedule this, super easy. You're going to pick your date. All right. I want this to go out on April 7th. It's going to be a short turnaround, but that's okay with me. I'm going to want it to go at 10 o'clock a.m. and I want to go at obviously 00. Okay. So now I'm going to schedule the email. If I scroll all the way down, here down at the bottom, you can see that the invite has been scheduled for this date and time. It's going to 22 recipients and it's scheduled. Now, you, as the creator of this invitation and mailing list that you've already put together, can change anything you like about this invitation until 9:59 a.m. on April 7th. At 10 o'clock, it's too late. It has gone out into the world. There's no way to retrieve it. You can't stop the process, and it'll be out of your control. When you're creating this, sometimes, especially if you're under a time pressure, the urge is to schedule it immediately. Like, okay, what time is it? Oh, it's 2:04. Okay, I'm going to schedule it for 2:04 so it goes out right now. Don't do that to yourself. All right. I don't care what kind of hurry you're in. Trust me when I say you want to give yourself 15 minutes to half an hour to schedule that so you can sit with this for a second, because inevitably you will remember, oh my gosh, I didn't make the registration page live. I haven't cleared out all the test registrations. Or you'll get a last minute inevitable email from somebody on the committee that says, stop the process. All right. So always give yourself at least 15 minutes. I like half an hour or even an hour ahead of me so that I have time for last minute changes and reflection. Okay. So let's pretend that this has been sent. Okay. Now, if this has been sent, then what happens? Well, once it's been sent, you'll get a report. And there's not going to be anything in it because obviously we haven't sent it yet. All right. But once it's sent, it will tell you what mailing list you used, what time did it go out, who was it sent to, how many people have opened it, how many people have unsubscribed, responded, declined, or what the number is that have not yet responded, and how many bounces you have. Okay. Each of these numbers, all right, the sent tos and all these things, you can click on and they become their own report that you can open up and look at. So you can look up a report that tells you who did it bounce to and why did it bounce, okay? Uh, who has not responded? Who's declined? Maybe you want to reach back out to them and say, gosh, we noticed that you declined, George. We really would like you to attend. Just want to make sure you have all the details, etc. Or who's responded? Super handy as a quick check, right? Because there are other places to check attendee lists, but it's a quick way to check and see who's responded. When the boss calls and says, George Smith, oh, yes, fine, look, yes. Or you can say, maybe they call and say, hey, George Smith says they didn't get it. You can look at the unique views, click on it and say, yeah, George Smith did get it, right? And it looks like he even opened it. So that's super helpful too. Obviously, you don't want to argue with George Smith, but you can tell your boss they did get it, all right? But if they argue successfully that they didn't get it, you can go back to the send page, all right? You can type that again, all right, that email, which is April 2026. All right, so we've got the mailing list again, all right? Now you can do some filtering, all right? So we want to select a filter, okay, and we're going to select it by first name is equal to, okay, and we're going to apply the filter, and that's one, and that's me. And now we can send it to just this person, me, all right? Laura says she didn't get it. Well, gosh, boss, I'm going to send it to her again right now, all right? So you can send it to a person specifically, all right? So we're going to clear the filters. Come over and trash that, okay? And now I'm going to say add a new filter, okay? And maybe I want to, maybe this is a list, all right? Now the boss has come back to you and said, we have 20 more people we need to add to this invitation list. You're like, great. And you've added them to your invite. All right, you've imported some more names. So now it says it's got 44 subscribers up here. Um, you don't want to send it again to everybody. You just want to send it to the new people, right? You sent this yesterday and now you've got these 20 more people. What do you do? Well, you want to exclude, you want to click this, everybody who's already registered and anybody who was not on this list before today at 2 o'clock. Okay. All right. Then you'd apply that filter and say, gosh, here are the 20 new names. All right. And that's who you'd be sending it to. So this is very helpful when, especially if to send this out multiple times. All right. If you need to send it to the whole list again, because they want it to go out to everybody to remind them that they haven't registered yet, right? Same thing applies, right? You don't want to send it to anybody who's already registered or declined. You don't need to exclude anybody because you want it to go to the whole list again. So you just want to click this. You can see how the filters will be very helpful for you as you're trying to manage the invitations to this event. All right, any questions so far about this? All right. So now we've created and we've talked about graphics. There is one actually thing about the graphics I forgot to tell you. Go back to the content. Scroll down here. So some of the templates are still really good to use, but this little number one in the US renovation, that occasionally gets away from us, right? Because it changes every year, and you want the latest and greatest graphic for that. So this is an old one. So I am going to click this, right? And that will give me up, well, where can I find a new one? Well, actually, I'm going to go back to the ASU Stova support page. And in the marketing section, all right, there is a section for how to update the ASU branded footer. All right. To do that, you're going to scroll down, all the way down, all the way down until you get here. All right. The latest version. And we're going to highlight this and copy it. We'll go back to my Stova page. And now I'm going to put it into the URL. Say, okay. Oh, nope, didn't do it. Let me try it again. There it is. So now you can see that here's the new graphic, right? All the way to 2026. All right. So now you're going to want to go down and save and stay. Now you could change that graphic, by the way, on all of your event emails like your confirmation, et cetera, as well. Okay. Um, or whenever you need to, we'll keep updating this, that same process as you are, as we move forward and we keep winning the #1 in US for innovation. So that's how you change out that graphic. All right. I'm going to hit save and stay one more time, just reviewing my notes. One of the other things, just as a recommendation as you're sending this, when you create your mailing list, I often have a test mailing list that I use that's me and a couple of other people in my department so that I can test it. So you're not just sending a test email to yourself with the test email and the content page, but also you're sending the going through the whole process of sending an email. So I do have, I think I have a Laura test in here. Maybe I don't. But I usually create one that's got my first name and a test that's me and a couple of other people. So I can send me to a test, send the invitation to a test mailing list, and they can go through the whole process of, hitting the decline button and the confirm button, etc. Okay. So that's another good best practice. All right. So we scheduled this, added the date. All right. Talked about the analytics you can find in the report. Now let's go talk a little bit about the analytics that you'll find on the registration page. Okay. So as you saw, there was a link on that marketing page. Let me go back in there and show you one more time. Which always, if you've connected it to your registration page, then that link is going to show up right up here. So you can just click that and it'll take you right to your registration page. Okay. So we're on the overview page, and look, because I connected it, you can see that the invite is right here on the overview, which if you need to get back to it, by the way, that's another place you can click and it would take you back to that invitation. Okay. So let's go to reports and functions. All right. Now, there's a couple things you can take a look at, right? You can look at the invite list. You can look at the registrant list to see who has been invited. You can also look at the emails sent report, right? So there's lots of reporting that you can look at that will help you just kind of keep track of um, who's been invited, where you're at, etc. Right? So this one thing we really like about Stova is it's got lots of reporting materials for you. Okay. Any questions so far? Okay. Excellent. And all right. Well, if there aren't any questions, unless Steve has something, perfect. So we have up here our support options page. Okay. And it's going to, oh, there it is, our support option pages. And these are all the ways you can contact us for support. Steve and I work Monday through Friday, generally 8 to 5 in that range. And so if you need assistance during those times, you can reach out to us either by email, thestova@asu.edu. You can go to that website that I showed you, the stova.asu.edu support website. You can get on the Slack channel. We have a large number of users, and they chime in all the time with great helpful advice. Plus, Steve and I monitor that. And then we answer questions if nobody else comes up with something. We have webinars like the one you're at today. We have YouTube full of training videos that you can access. And then we have office hours that specifically, right now they're on Tuesdays at 1:30, where we just kind of open it up to everybody to come in and we troubleshoot whoever's in the room and try to answer their questions. Okay. Now, when Steve and I are not here, Stova is actually 24/7 and they're happy to help. They have a great support staff. You can email them. You can go to the support website. They're on-demand videos, etc. They're really awesome. All right. Now, most of the time, they can answer great questions about the process of Stova and the processes. There's some ASU information that's more specific, and they'll tell you that you have to come back to us. All right. I don't see any questions, just some thank yous and goodbyes. Last chance, folks. Otherwise, we're going to give you a couple minutes back to your day. All righty. Thank you, everyone. We'll see you on the next one.